Hi everybody, my name is Suze and I work with women to help them find balance between their internal masculine and feminine energies so that they can have lives that feel really emotionally fulfilling, full of love and connection. Happy Monday. It is the start to a fresh week. Well, depending, maybe you think Sunday is the first day of the week, whatever. We are at the beginning of a new week. I hope you are as excited as I am about this week. Today is the lunar nodal shift. If you didn't see my video on Saturday, I would highly recommend that you check that out. A lot of really powerful, fiery energy coming through today and potentially the next few days. So just watch what comes up for you. My word of advice, watch what comes up for you. Pace yourself. Be gentle. A lot of things may come up. A lot of fiery, impulsive energy may come through. And I always recommend, of course, not acting impulsively. So sit with what is, let it be seen, let it be heard, maybe journal it out, let it be heard. But pace yourself. It's about the long-term consistent action, not impulsive spurts, right? So anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I want to talk about anxiety today. I am loving talking about anxiety in all these videos, and I want to talk today about how anxiety sabotages your value system. But before I can even get into that, I know I'm going to have to do a separate video on this, but value system. I don't think that the idea of establishing our own personal individual value systems, I don't feel like that is emphasized or talked about or even shown how to enough. I never really realized what my value system was until a few years ago. I started doing some work on it. And it's just, we just go through life and we adopt these belief systems and value systems from parents or from different situations we've been through in our lives. But I really am noticing how knowing what your value system is requires you to do some conscious digging around inside yourself. And maybe the value system that you've been kind of like pulling around behind you belongs to your parents, or maybe it belongs to someone else. And the value system that maybe you've been trying to force yourself to live under is not actually your authentic value system. So enough about that. I will save that rest of the talk for another video because I really want to talk about anxiety. But having said that about the value system, now we can see maybe potentially cross over into anxiety, how anxiety can sabotage a value system. Because here's the thing, it can go in a couple different ways. If you're simply living your life subconsciously and not fully aware of what your own value system is, and you're living under an adopted, let's just say, an adopted value system from parents or whoever, that right there can actually generate a lot of anxiety. Because now shame is going to come into the picture. Because I'm willing to bet that there's some shame that you hold around someone else's value system that was imposed on you that actually is not aligned with your value system. So you've adopted some shame by not measuring up to someone else's value system that you think you're supposed to be aligned with, but it's not authentically your value system. So now there's some shame happening here. And whenever there's shame happening, anxiety is just around the corner. And then when you have shame and you have anxiety, undoubtedly around the next corner, you're gonna have self-sabotage. It's how it works. And so back to the idea of anxiety. Anxiety. I've done a lot of videos and I'm going to reference some of them right now too, because I've laid a lot of groundwork that is very necessary for people to understand before they even can approach the subject I'm bringing to the table today. So particularly the one, oh, I forgot to look up the name of it. What did I title it? What your anxiety is trying to tell you. And in that, I was talking about how people can be in a state of anxiety and not even fully be aware of it. Like people can tell the big moment anxiety, the more obvious anxiety, and recognize when they're in anxiety, but there's subtler daily moments of anxiety that people don't even recognize they're in a state of anxiety because it has become so normal in our society. And it's actually not healthy. Healthy and normal are two very different things. And just because something is the norm or something is accepted, it does not make it healthy, obviously. So please go back and watch that video first so that you have a better context for how grand of a scale of anxiety I'm talking about, and how anxiety is so pervasive, that's the word, in our everyday life and in our everyday moment by moment emotional experiences, and we're not even recognizing it. And if you're not recognizing you're in a state of anxiety, you're not actually going to be able to choose your most authentic, highest, most fulfilled, highest path of decisions in the moment. So anxiety and value system. Once you understand and start observing yourself and getting really clear on how many times in a day you're slipping down a slippery slope of anxiety and highly nervous energy, a highly activated nervous system type energy, now you're going to see how it affects a value system, okay? Because a value system is something that to you is going to bring you fulfillment. Your value system is what you align your life and your decisions with. A value system is what you are going to put boundaries in place to support your constant movement of your value towards your value system, right? The boundaries are about support. It's not necessarily about protection, because that's a closed-hearted space energy. It's about supporting, which makes sense. If you value something, you support it, right? I mean, it's obvious. So if you're supporting a value system with boundaries and you are very clear on what you specifically value, and it's not about what anyone else has told you you're supposed to value or has worth or whatever, getting into anxiety gets you into a state of scarcity because there's a fear of a loss of this thing that you value. That's what anxiety is, right? It's a fear of a potential outcome that you view as negative. And why is it negative? Because there's some sense of loss around some little corner aspect of your value system and what you value. So whenever we get into a fear of loss, now we're in a scarcity mindset, because what happens when you're in a state of fear of loss? You're gonna grab. Oh, I can't lose that. Ooh, that frantic, desperate, grabby energy. Instead of understanding the bigger picture, you're gonna think you have to grab this thing right here, instead of recognizing there might be something even better and more powerful. If you learn how to manage and work with your anxiety, learn to overpower your anxiety, and I mean overpower in the empowered sense, the higher self overpowering the lower self of it being in the state of anxiety, and you learn how to work with it, override it, and move into a bigger place, a bigger place. If you understand your values at a really energetic core level, you're going to understand that whatever you see in your physical reality, there might actually be an object or a thing or a situation or whatever that might be even bigger and better and more aligned to your value system than what you currently have right here. So it's never about grabbing frantically, desperately in a scarcity mindset, grabbing, holding tight, without, being stubbornly holding on to what you have without recognizing the bigger picture that there might be something even better that's even more aligned with your value system. Scarcity mindset. Another way anxiety sabotages your value system. Same kind of a thought, different way of looking at it, is you settle for the superficial value thing. Now, I started to touch on this, I think it was on Saturday's video again, my astrological forecast. I believe that was the video. I started to touch on this because I was talking about Taurus energy and how Taurus energy is about value and stability. Taurus energy is very grounded, it's very stable, And it is about values, what you value. And so as humans in this human 3D matrixy world, and I was honest in this video, I myself got trapped up in this. We think that certain things that we see in our physical reality are going to create stability for us. But then when we start to really wake up to the true energetic world that we live in, and it isn't just this, pen thing, but it's all energy, dumb example, but you get it. It's all this unseen reality that's actually happening below the surface. And these things that we see or touch or smell or taste or whatever, our human senses, the things that you humanly sense with your human senses, that's not really what life is. It's that undercurrent that's invisible in the unseen world. So what I mean is things such as money, such as financial stability. You may think that if I have financial stability, I will feel stable and good and safe in my life. But if you allow yourself to really, truly get honest with yourself, you're gonna really understand money has nothing to do with emotional stability. Emotional stability has everything to do with emotional stability. And that emotional stability is what you're actually after in this life. And again, you have to be aware and awake and honest with yourself, transparent with yourself enough to really come to that realization. So anxiety will have a tendency, again, to make you look, right? Because anxiety comes from the human aspect, the human self. Anxiety comes from these human perceptions, not spiritual. These human perceptions of what you see in your physical reality and grasping onto those things, thinking that that's the thing that will make you feel happy, fulfilled, satisfied, whatever the thing is, right? Thinking that that's what's going to give you the emotional peace that you're missing or desiring, and you settle for the superficial, maybe financial stability. I already talked about the word normal in this, right? So maybe you settle for financial stability when you're not recognizing that what your heart and your soul is actually craving is emotional stability and fulfillment. Emotional stability comes from the balance of your own inner masculine and feminine energies, healing the wounded, distorted aspects of both of the parts of you, the feminine and the masculine, learning to integrate, collaborate them together to build the whole divine self. Acknowledging the human and the divine, acknowledging the masculine and the feminine, acknowledging the physical and the non-physical reality, both worlds, learning to integrate and work them together, being a master of your physical body, being a master of your emotional and energetic destiny. That's where you're really wanting to go. And so in that, if you're recognizing that, you're therefore then going to also recognize that normal is not part of the equation. Normal has nothing to do with anything. But anxiety is going to make you think that you want normal, because normal is safe, normal is predictable, normal is stable, because it's known, and the mind finds a false sense of safety in the known or the proven or the accepted, the generally accepted viewpoints or the generally accepted ways of doing life or the generally accepted lifestyles, right? Or the generally accepted belief systems and mindsets and how we live and do and all the things. And again, back to the value system. There's nothing normal about your unique value system because it's your unique value system. It's not normal. It's yours. And if you're getting into states of anxiety and not working with that anxiety in a self-empowering, self-fulfilling kind of a way, positively self-fulfilling, not negative self-fulfilling prophecy, positive way, in a fulfilling, liberating, empowering way, you're gonna find safety, a false sense of, a human sense of safety in the normal. I touched on this as well in the video I did last week. I'm trying to remember the name. where I was really pushing the envelope, and I know that that video was probably a very unpopular opinion about safety and sacrifice. Safety and sacrifice. And a lot of this journey, whether you like it or not, as a divine feminine, is understanding you're going to have to sacrifice some of this safety stuff if you actually want fulfillment, because the greater fulfillment comes in the risk. And so part of the massive, and this is high level divine feminine energy, but part of the journey of the divine feminine is learning how to find your own internal safety no matter what is happening in your external reality. And in that process, you're gonna find you're gonna sacrifice and let go of the need for some of this superficial external reality safety, because you understand it's actually limiting you. Divine feminine energy does not have any limits. Boundaries and limits and definitions is entirely masculine energy. So if you're looking to explode your feminine energy, you're gonna have to sacrifice some of that stuff. Let that go to free yourself to greater fulfillment, to free yourself to fly to greater heights. Obviously, the higher we go, the more dangerous things get. Obviously, you fly in a plane, probably a little bit more dangerous, right? Or at least it feels that way. It feels less safe than driving a car. Actually, that's a pretty good analogy. Flying in an airplane probably feels less safe than driving on the street. And probably, unless you're someone who does a lot of flying, and probably a lot of that is because driving on the street, again, is more normal and everyday and more predictable and more safe to the mind because it's more normal than flying in the sky in a plane. I think a lot of us have a lot more anxiety on planes than driving a car. Actually, was a pretty good analogy there. And I'm not usually very good at analogies, so I'm going to praise myself on that one because I'm not very good at analogies, but I like that one. I like that one. Let me know if that works for you too. Or if you have a better analogy, let me know. Drop it in the comments below. So anxiety will completely and totally sabotage your value system. Get clear on your value system, which can be linked in through your shame. Find your shame. That will link you down a very interesting self-discovery path to finding your value system. I will do more videos on that later. It's fascinating. But then once you find your unique value system, you'll recognize how it is not normal and it is not what the accepted norms are for emotion cycles, karmic cycles, mental cycles, how you live your life, how you move. For me, moving slowly is a big one for me. I move very slowly and I give myself all the space and love and grace to move at my rate that works for me to maintain my emotional stability and to keep myself out of states of anxiety and self-sabotage. But that is not normal. So moving slowly for me is a huge core part of my value system. I move at the rate that is right for me, and it has nothing to do with anyone else, and I do not allow anyone else to rush me to move at a rate where I lose my own emotional stability. That's a value system that is very unique to me. So it is not normal. So again, two different ways anxiety can sabotage your value system is anxiety gets you into a scarcity mindset because of fear of loss or fear of a negative thing. So we grab onto things instead of allowing the universe to work with us into getting into a flow state and allowing something even bigger and better to come in. And number two, anxiety can sabotage your value system by encouraging you to settle for the superficial value, the human value thing, instead of digging deeper for the energetic value thing, settling for less than what you actually want. For two examples that I gave was financial stability and the normal, settling for normal, right? Or settling for safe. So I hope this conversation helped you. If you did find value, please do subscribe to show your support, build support. Again, I love that word right now. To support my message, get this message out to more people. Thank you so much for those who've been here with me and for all the love and support from you all. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.